Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Sorry it's been a while, but I wanted to do a video on the various guitar tones I used in the Ghost cover. So let's just jump into it. First off, the song starts with clean guitar, and this is the clean patch. Now I have a delay block in. I'm pretty sure I didn't use that delay block. So the amp I ended up using was the US DOUBLE Nrm. I believe that's a Fender of some type. And you can see the settings here. The drive 2.4, bass 4.4, mid 5.2, treble 5.7, presence 5.5. I got the channel volume cranked and the master cranked. I think I may have raised the sag on this. Basically, the sag kind of adds a little bit of compression. And that's the amp settings for that. The IR I ended up using was an Ownhammer from the Heavy Hitters Collection 2. And it is one of their mix selections, the THOR Fat. I feel like it just had a nice round sound. And I did end up using a room reverb, I believe. Nope. I used one of the new Searchlights reverb. Short decay. A little bit of pre-delay. You can see low cut at 200. High cut at 3K. 50% mix, so pretty substantial. And I don't have any modulation on there. Let's hear how that sounds. Now in the mix, I do have a couple room reverbs. I turned those off so you could hear the clean guitar without any effects. And if I add in my rooms, let's see what I did. Nope, I just have some delay. So what I ended up doing is I have my delay on the opposite side of whatever guitar. So in this instance, this clean guitar is panned left. I have the delay for that pan to the right side, so I'll turn that on. So yeah, that's a pretty typical trick. Like I said, the left guitar's delay is on the right guitar's delay is on the left. And what else do I have here? Yeah, and I did add some more reverb, quantum leap spaces, and I have that just to kind of, make it feel like it's in a big scary church. So let's turn that on. Pretty sweet. Now, obviously, in the original, those are acoustics. I didn't feel like recording acoustics. I wanted to make a clean sound inside of my Helix. So there's that. Now, I believe there's a dirty guitar I have coming up. And for that, I used this Ghost Dirt preset. We got the Scream Out 808. We got the level at 7, the tone at 5.1. The amp I used is a Jazz Rivet 120. Now I believe that's a model after a Roland. And I used another Ownhammer Impulse from the Heavy Hitters collection. That is a mixed impulse. It's the SOAP full. The Heavy Hitters Collection 1 or 2 is a great start. You're going to be overwhelmed with the amount of choices. Very, very simple, dirty patch. And I'll play that again for you. What else do we have coming up here? We have the bass, have been introed. It's the same bass patch throughout. I just played this part with my fingers. So let's hear how that sounds. Super fun part. Sounds like a piano, pretty badass. I'll solo out the heavy parts, obviously. So let's go into this patch. Ghost bass. I have a volume block here because my bass has a active preamp and it comes in pretty hot. So as you can see, I knocked it down 3 dB. I have the Obsidian 7000, which is based on a Dark Class B7K. I'll run through these real quick. Lots of settings in this bad boy. Drive is at 8.9. The level's at 0.8. The blend is 6.1. I have the grunt set to boost. Attack set to boost. The master's at 5.6. My bass is plus 6 dB. The low mid frequency is set to 250 hertz. The low mid is minus 3.9, so I'm kind of taking out, scooping it, if you will. The high mid frequency is set at 3K, and I have that up 2.6 dB. The treble is up 3 dB, and the distortion is off. I did not use the distortion on this one. The amp block is the SV Beast Brt. It's based on an SVT AMPG. The drive is at 2. The bass is 2.5. The mid is at 9. The mid frequency is at 800 hertz. The treble is at 9. Channel volume is at 10. Master is at 10. I upped the sag to 8, and like I've said in some of my other videos, the sag seems to add some level of basic compression. And the rest of this stuff I believe is defaulted. The IR I used is OH 410 AMPG SVT PORT. It's a Ownhammer variation of the AMPG 410. I do have a compressor block on, but I don't think I used it. I think I compressed in my DAW. Now let's hear some of the heavier bass parts. So you can see I have first in line is the Pro EQ and doing some cuts and probably some honky sounds. Let's hear how this bad boy sounds. So there's your harsh sound, there's your little honky sound. I got a little bit of boost, and you can see I'm cutting off some low end information that's not necessary, and I personally feel like the bass is pretty good sounding. And then next in the chain, I have the virtual mix rack. I have the custom series EQ, kind of cranking some high end, 5.7 dB, 10K, 5.3 dB, 2K, and it looks like everything else is flat. Boosting 2.94 in the high end with the FGN. Looks like everything else is flat, and I am using, I'm rolling off up to 39 hertz, and I'm using the drive, the line drive. I often use this for the line drive just to add some harmonics. And then I'm using the FET compressor. See what that's doing. So you can tell that's doing a lot of brightening up of that tone. And I have the trusty limiter on there, L1. Basically, I just have that to turn it into a block of sound, even out the variations in my playing. So that's it for the bass. Now for the main event, the heavy guitar. funky by itself, but not bad. Now here's my Ghost patch. First block, you guessed it, it's a Scream 808. The gain is all the way down. The tone is at 5 and the level's at 10. There's a delay block, but I didn't use that. I ended up using the Brit Plexi Bright. Believe that's modeled after some variant of a Marshall. Forgive me. The drive is at 7. The bass is at 5. The mid is at 6.5. The treble's at 7. The presence is at 6. The channel volume is at 8. The master is up to 10. Sag, hum, ripple, bias, bias X, I believe, are all defaulted. The IR is an Ownhammer 412 ENG V30. It's based on an Angle 412 with vintage 30s in it. And the JS is Jon Symons, kind of like his personal mix. He is a rep of Ownhammer. And then I believe I have a reverb block. Just added a little life to it. So I got the decay at 4.5, the pre-delay at 11 milliseconds. I'm cutting at 220 and at 2K. The mix is at 15%. I'll play it soloed again and in context. Pretty dope. What else do we got here? So I'm using that room delay with the Quantum Leap spaces again. Looks like I'm dipping some mids out. I think that's in addition to the delay and the room that I have on the tone. I threw a lot of reverb on that. Let's listen to it without those reverbs. So I think I put those reverbs on there just so it poked through everything in the mix. Let's take a look at my Ghost solo patch. I have my delay block in there, 306 milliseconds. Feedback is at 22%, and the mix is at 5%, so I have that pretty low. The amp I used was the Brit 2204, another variant of a Marshall. The drive, this must be higher gain because the drive's pretty low compared to the other one. The drive is 3.9. The bass is at 2.6. The mid is at 6. The treble is at 8.1. The presence is at 7. The channel volume is at 10. The master at 3.6. And then sag, hum, and ripple are all at 5. The bias is at 7. And the bias X is at 5. I think that's the default settings. For the IR, I use that same Ownhammer Angle 412. I have some room verb. Decay at 1.5. Pre-delay at 2 milliseconds. Cutting at 300 hertz and 4K. The mix is at 14%. More reverb. It would appear that I used all of these, so... And like I said, when I turned off the reverb in the DAW, you could hear there is still some delay in reverb. So in addition to the room, I have a hall reverb. The decay is at 3.5. The pre-delay is at 53 milliseconds. Cutting at 340 hertz and at 2.3K. The mix is at 32%. Looks like I'm doing a little post EQ. Cutting 1 dB at 230 hertz. That's it. A little bit of a cut. And we'll hear some of that in context. Cool. The drums, as indicated in the video for this, are from a group called SilentUndergroundStudios. I believe they are out of Australia, and they have jam tracks for various songs. They happen to have some for this song, so I downloaded their drums only jam track. Appreciate them providing this stuff for free to everybody. Let's, I guess, a few other mix things. Oh, let's go over the guitars real quick. as I know I did a little bit of processing, rhythm guitar wise. I have my, undo, my Pro EQ. Let's find the heavy section of the song. Pretty steep high cut here, but I'll get rid of it, and you can see I basically just kind of got rid of useless fuzz. Just cleans it up, makes it a little more pleasing to the ear. And that's something that I'll often do this, do a high cut, and then I will go back into Helix and add an EQ block and do this high cut. But sometimes I just like to get to recording and I end up doing it in the DAW. And you can, as I kind of salute these out, these are just some harsh frequencies and a little bit of honk right here. Just cleans it up, makes it sound much nicer. I add the Pro MB to most of my guitars to just kind of control some of the low end rumble. It's subtle, but those frequencies will build up across your mix, so I don't take any chances. It's just compressing that section. That's pretty much it, guys. So again, I apologize for going so long without making a video. A lot of nice feedback from people. I appreciate you guys taking the time out to watch my stuff, and we'll get back on track. I'm going to do another video going over the tone I used for the Metallica tone. So hope to get that out this week as well. Thanks for watching. Appreciate all the new subscribers. Keep the feedback coming. I really do appreciate it. I'll see you guys in the next one.